blessing Israel Nation. This is Bossy Water, and I'm back again with another topic. And this week we discuss Sarakiel, the Archangel Sarakiel. Naba kwani mwensi mwa gusia secretaria Yesu motoria. Mbia mure asimure. Na wasalimia wote katika jina la Isa Masiha. Naomba mko salama salmini katika jina lake. Amina. Today we're going to discuss about the Archangel Sarakiel, okay? And Sarakiel is a very interesting angel, and we'll talk about Sarakiel, but I'll go ahead and just give you variations of his name, okay? And you have Sarakiel, you have Suriel, you have Sarakuel, you have Sarakel, you have Sarakiel, and Suriel, okay? So, and that would be variances of his name. So I just went ahead and just gave you, just from a few dialects, basically some variations of the name, Sarakiel or Sarakiel, okay? So we move over to the book of Enoch 20, 1 to 7. And in Enoch 21-7, we find the 6 watcher angels. Some versions say 7, okay? So I say 6 to 7 watcher angels, okay? In the book of Enoch, okay? Which is, these are the names of the angels who watch. Uriel, okay? I talked about Uriel already. Raphael, Raguel, Mikael, Sarakiel. And we're discussing Sarakiel this week. And Gabriel, okay? Now, if you go over to the book of Enoch 20, verse 6, particularly verse 6, we already did Enoch 21 to 7, so we're doing Enoch just 20 verse 6, okay? Sarakiel is one of the holy angels who presides over the spirits of children of men that transgress, okay? So that's Enoch 26. So now, looking over through the book of Enoch, this is the only verse where you find him mentioned, okay? So Sarakiel, basically we know he takes care of and presides over the spirits of children of men that transgress. But that's all that it says, alright? So, in trying to find the Hebrew meaning, okay? So I went over to a couple of websites, okay? So I went over to a couple of websites and I looked over the meaning of the name Sarakiel. And what I find is that in Wikipedia, Babynology and Parade.com, and don't judge my sources, but I couldn't find anything really that to me I felt was related with Sarakiel. So these websites say that Sarakiel means a commandment of God. Now, I have a problem with that because the word for commandment is Sava, okay? And Sarakiel and Sava, I'm not really sure how they're related. But this is what I had to do, guys, okay? I'm going to show you a secret. I couldn't find the meaning of the name Sarakiel. So I had to go back. You know how you have cheat sheets, I had to do a truth sheet and go back to my African languages and find the meaning of Sarakiel and then come back to Hebrew so I can give you the Hebrew meaning. Okay, so I had to do like a reverse search. Okay, so I'll go ahead and tell you how I came up with the meaning of Sarakiel. And to me, it doesn't really mean God's commandment. But let's see what I get. Now, before we go into trying to break down the name of Sarakiel and find the mystery behind the meaning of the name of Sarakiel, because Sarakiel takes care of children of men who transgress, we can find references in the Bible, in the book of Matthew 18:10, where it says, "Beware that you don't look down on any of these little ones, for I tell you that in heaven their angels are always in the presence of my heavenly Father." So it means that the angels that protect children, okay, those that particularly protect children are fierce, and they're more, just say, possessive. I would say they're kind of like a mom, okay? They are very protective over the children, over the little kids. And in fact, some studies have shown that when you do, when you place water near a child, like a newborn baby, it actually changes the composition of the water from, a random crystalline shape, the atomic composition, to a more crystalline, more, to a more crystalline, like more shapely design. It's really beautiful when you see it. And that was a study that was done by Dr. I think Masaru Emoto, right? He's a social scientist, okay? So this is why sometimes maybe when people hold children, they feel like peace or a kind of healing. It's not imagined. It's actually scientifically proven. Okay? Now, being that it was difficult to find the meaning of Sarakiel, I just went to Wikipedia and found this meaning. Don't judge my sources. But to be honest, I prefer that you use more scholarly, like when you're studying, I prefer you use more, I'm not saying Wikipedia is not scholarly, but it wouldn't necessarily be viewed as a credible site. So, but hey, it works, and I'll tell you why, okay? So, let me tell you why. Okay, so there's a caption I took over from Wikipedia. Archangel Sarakiel, meaning God's command. I don't necessarily agree with it, but a little I do. Or Zahariel is one of the primary angels who leads souls to judgment. An angel of healing. He is also the presiding angel of the sun, prince of ministering angels, those who watch over mortals. Okay, that I agree with. And the angel of children, particularly children of parents who have sinned and are therefore at risk of falling into sin as adults themselves. He is said to have dominion over the earth. Okay, now just remember that definition, and you will get this definition as it is through African language. Okay, and I'll take it back and then transfer it back to Hebrew so I can tell you what Sarakiel means. And so here we go. Okay, so just looking at the name Sarakiel, I thought to myself, okay, because having looked through, sifted through some websites, and I can't really go to the library now, COVID, but having, just sifted through some of the meanings that I think would be probable meanings for the name Sarakiel. As a rule of thumb, I just know that whenever you see Sarah, okay, Sarah, in African languages, in Hebrew, okay, because Hebrew is an African language. So when you see the consonants ZR and SR, it would always refer to some kind of multiplication, binary composition, division, multiplication in that sense, okay? So Zera is actually in Hebrew is a seed, okay? And it's not just a seed, it's a seed meaning that has the potential to produce life. So not only a seed in terms of plant kingdom, but also a human seed, okay? Which would be the sperm, okay? Common sense, I think. All right. Now, Remember, in the Bible, Jesus or Yeshua or Yesu is actually referred to as Zerah, the seed of the woman, okay? Zerah, okay? So from that, even in itself, remember, what did we now, having known what ZR and SR may stand for, do you remember what Enoch did describe Sarakiel as the angel who presides over the children of men who transgress? Okay, so what does that mean? A seed has the potential to produce life, and thus a seed, produces generations and generations, right? Okay. So we have that fast part. So Sarah would imply progeny, posterity, or descendants. Okay, Sarah and descendants of God. Okay, but then there's a K in the middle there. Okay, now I had to go back, like I said, to African language. Now when I heard the word Sarakiel, I was like, that sounds like serikali in Swahili. Okay, Swahili in Swahili, serikali is government, okay, or a government official, okay. So then I went back to Hebrew, and when I looked what a government official was, guess what it was? Sarak. So the first part of Sarakiel. So it's Sarak. So the combination of Sarakiel in itself would be government of, or the angel who is a government official, okay, of the progeny or the children of the sons of men that transgress. Okay, now is God's kingship a government? Yeah, it's a theocracy. Okay, meaning that God is not only is he a commander-in-chief, he's a God king, okay? So Sarakiel is not only a government official as a theocratic, prince angel, it also shows that he's of a higher birth, okay? Being that he's a part of the 6 to 7 watcher angels, okay? Okay, so Sarak, and then Sarah is a seed. So do you get it? Okay. So basically, if you look in Hebrew, Sarak is a chief, an overseer, a commissioner, or a government official. Okay? So when you combine Sarakiel, it becomes the government official or chief overseer of the children of men who transgress. Okay? Now, also using the consonants ZR and SR, just to reinforce this. If you look at the prophecy in Isaiah about Jesus, it says he's going to be an Azar, okay? The prophecy was he would be an Azar, okay? Meaning a minister, okay? And in Swahili, that's wazir, okay? A minister. And that's why when Jesus was born, the Hebrews thought that Jesus was going to come and be a government worldly minister, because the prophecy was the government shall be upon his shoulders. But it was actually talking about the theocratic government, a spiritual government, okay? So Jesus was an Azar, okay? And by that, Azar is, in Hebrew, means to protect, to aid, to help, to support, to give material or non-material encouragement. Azar often refers to aid in form of military assistance, and in many instances refers to those who get help from Jehovah, as illustrated by the uses below. So it's Sarakiel, Azarel, Zarel. Do you see that? Okay, now So in that respect, that would still mean, he's an under a minister of God, right? Okay, so now we move over to the Bantu derivation of the name Sarakiel, okay? Now, remember, just as a rule of thumb also with African language, when you see the consonant Z, R, and SR, excuse me, whenever you see the consonant Z, R, and SR, remember that these are the images you should have in your mind. The idea of a binary existence or multiplication, okay? Government rulership, increasing surface area, in terms of, say, sowing seed or grinding seed to increase its surface area, meat growth, or separation, okay? And to give birth or fertility. Now, based on the Hebrew derivation that I gave you, the meaning of Sarakiel would mean the government official or government overseer, okay, or official of God who is in charge of the children of men who transgress. Now, when you talk about children of men, you're not only talking about the men, the parents, and also the children, right? So it's a generation, okay, a certain cohort, one cohort to another, okay? Now, using just the Hebrew meaning that it's a government, okay? In Swahili, the meaning takes on a more symbolic representation. You'll actually really understand why Sarakiel is called Sarakiel, okay? Now, in Swahili, a saraka is a chest of drawers in a drawer or a table set that involves the mother table or father table and smaller tables. So it's not just tables, okay? Saraka is not just tables. It's not just a drawer. It's a drawer in a drawer. So it has to have a mother drawer and drawers in it, baby drawers, okay? Or a mother table and baby tables, okay? Or a mother desk and baby desks. That's what a saraka is. So whenever you see, so if you see saraka el, okay, what does that tell you? It means that the idea of bureaucracy and generation is involved, and the Swahili language brings out the image of it, okay, so that you just will not have any confusion at all. And that's why it's important to not neglect the African languages when it comes to interpreting the Bible, okay? Okay, now, see how in Hebrew the name Sarakiel will end with the name of God, El, okay? El. Now, in Swahili, the name will undergo a phonetic variation and become Ali, okay? Meaning A-A-L-I, okay? Now, Ali is actually a derivation from the first Swahili alphabet, okay? Which is Alifu, okay? Now, El or Eri are the parent roots for the alphabet, which is the first letter, which is Alifu, Swahili, okay? And then Alpha, which is Greek, and Aleph, which is Arabic, all right? Now, with that being said, the first letter being Alifu, it's from here that you get the number 1,000 in Swahili. So the first letter, just like the Hebrew letter, is attributed to strength, okay? Preponderant strength, okay? And God is the preponderant one, right? So the name Saraka, the combination of the chest of, the representation of the chest of drawers to represent generational progeny, okay? So Saraka Ali, okay? Meaning the children or descendants of the superior one, okay? Or he who is the mighty one. Ali, Saraka Ali, Sarakiel. Okay, that's the difference between Hebrew and Swahili. Not much of a difference. All right? So I'll go ahead and show you a video. I'll show you, sorry, a picture of one of East Africa's greatest singers, okay, and that's Diamond Platnumz. And he has done such a tremendous job in being an ambassador for the Swahili language and Swahili culture. So I like the song because it specifically talks about, you know, marriage and the good values in marriage and chastity. Because God knows I can't discuss the rest of his songs in a religious channel. I mean, okay, but I like the song because it has good values. And then also I like the decor because it's, you know, he uses, you know, Swahili furniture, traditional Swahili furniture. So I'll show you some pictures of his videos, and you'll see like chests of drawers, okay? That's what traditional Swahilis would call a saraka, or a chest of desks, okay? Or a chest of tables. Not a chest, but a set of tables. Okay? Okay, so here we go. Alright. Okay. So now, I have a second derivation right now for Swahili as well. Okay, for Sarakiel. Now we're going to use the first suffix to break down the name Sarakiel. So Sera, okay, Sera. Now in Swahili, Sare. Sare means it's the name given to a newborn child, but the name that's given to a child immediately they're born. Okay. Now, for example, when twins are born in Bantu cultures, they usually have already names specified by the given community that you give for the second twin and for the first twin. Okay. So such a name will be called Sare, and then they'll acquire other names given by family. Now, for example, in my culture, when twins are born, before they're given any other names, everybody knows. The second twin is called Varongo, and the first one is called Babere, okay? Meaning the second one, okay? And or there are two. And then the second twin is called Barongo to mean the covert one. Okay? And you'll find variations of these names like in other languages. Mrongo in Swahili is a liar. Jirongo in Kikuyu is one who does things in a covert way that's hidden. Okay? So we did carry on that Jacobite identity even in naming of the twins. And Swahili culture does the same. The first one is called Kulwa, and the second one is called Doto, I believe. And thanks to Dixon for telling me about that. Okay? Thank you. Alright, so then you have a second derivation. Okay, the first one is a name that is given to a child immediately they're born. Okay, and the second meaning of that name, Sare, is if you play a game, alright? If you play with somebody and you come draw, you all draw, same points, okay? You say, you've gone Sare, okay? You're even, alright? And in that sense, it also implicitly means a binary composition. And Sare also means two things happening within the same time, okay? So when you play a game and both of you draw, both of you have drawn at the same time. So you've mmecheza Sare, right? Okay. So now in Ekegusii, twins are called Chi Sare. Chi is plural and Sare is the name for twins, okay? To mean that it's a simultaneous birth, okay? So when we say twins, twins would be two or more, okay? So we don't have name for triplets and quadruplets. You know, it's an inferential language, right? So now, the second derivation you have is sesere. Sesere. In Swahili, sesere or mwana sesere is a doll, okay? A doll is usually made in the image of someone, okay? Unless it's like, or an animal, right? So most dolls, unless they're imaginary dolls, but on a primary basis, they're made, you know, based on an image of someone, right? Now, okay, there is a constant pattern of recurrence of the idea of posterity. You see that? Sare, name given to a child, things happening at the same time, posterity. Now look, sesere is an image of, okay, that which looks like, alright? Now, Zara in Arabic and Swahili and Arabic, Zara means agriculture. Agriculture also pertains to the idea of posterity, because the seed has the potential to give birth, okay, to produce descendants. Alright? Okay, now in Swahili, Sura is face, your face, Sura. So if I say Sura kama baba yako, meaning you do have a face, you do have your father's likeness. Sura is likeness, okay? So you can use it to say you have the likeness of your father, okay? And a Sura kama babake has the likeness of his father, alright? So again, the idea of posterity and multiplication, okay? So a child can be your image, an image of his parents, meaning that it also alludes to progeny, okay? Generation. So then, if you combine the word, the idea of Sare, the name given to a child when they're born, Sare and El would mean child who is named after El, okay? Now, remember, the Bible says in 2 Chronicles 7:14, it says, if my people, which are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, I will hear from heaven and I will heal their land. Okay? So angels and also the Hebrews had names that were named after the property of God. Alright? Just like the name Sarakiel is still a property of God, because he is our Father. Right? Okay. Now, and then another meaning of Sarakiel would also mean the binary one, or twin of God, or multiple births of God. Okay? Now remember, this is also how you also get the derivation for the name Israel. I've never done a breakdown for the name Israel because I think it's going to take me an hour and a half. So I said I'm just going to release as I go with the video, like breakdowns of the name Israel, if it's relevant. Okay? Now for here, you see that. It says a twin of God, or binary one of God, you see, with the allusion of Sarakiel, okay? Remember, this is where you get the name Israel. Jacob was the godly twin of God, okay? Esau was the ungodly one. And in fact, the Most High says that Esau I have hated, okay? So Sarakiel, Israel, okay, Jacob is the seed, okay, that will also produce Zerah, the Messiah, right? So this is an angel that's particularly assigned, okay, to I would say the nation of Israel, the Hebrew nation of Israel, and it's also assigned to the children of the sons of men, basically. Now we have another derivation. Now, the Swahili word for, the Swahili word for to be drunk, to stagger, or to wobble is sesereka, okay? Sesereka. Now, if you combine sesereka and ali, it may not make sense to you. It would imply, it would mean drunk one of God, but that's not what it means. Now, the Bible talks about sin, okay? Sin, and it's metaphorically used as a form of drunkenness, okay? Sin is seen as a form of drunkenness. Also, drunkenness in itself is seen as a sin, okay? So, if you put the Saraka and Ali would mean then, he who protects against kusesereka, to sesereka, the drunkenness of sin, okay, in terms of generations, okay, between mother, father, and the children, okay, because he protects the children of men who transgress, and transgressing as a form of drunkenness, okay. Now, in reference to drunkenness and sesereka, remember that. So if we say sesereka ali or sesereka, eri, okay, the angel who prevents, the children of the son of men from falling into that drunkenness of generational sin. Then remember I told you Sarakiel, obviously. Sarakiel I told you was government, and that's how I got the initial Hebrew derivation for the first part, Sarak. Okay, for Sarakiel, Sarak in Hebrew means a government official. In Swahili, Sarak will become Serikali, meaning the government, okay, or a government official, right? So again, we know he's a prince angel and he's a part of God's theocratic government. We don't even have to repeat that, right? Okay, so then another consonant with the prefix, with the prefix therapy, okay? Suria in Swahili is either a concubine or a slave, or both, a concubine slave, one of those, okay? Now, if you add ali, it means, it would mean slave of God. Now, remember in the book of Jude, it says that we are all bond servants of Yeshua, okay? We're all bond servants of Yeshua. So Sarakiel is a bond servant of the Most High, so Surya Eli. And in fact, a variation of Sarakiel is Surya Eli, meaning bond servant of God, okay? But this would also mean he who protects against that generational sin that would lead to bondage or slavery, okay? So you can kind of twist and turn that meaning around, okay? Because these are root words. So based on the specification of his job in the book of Enoch, he does prevent generational sin, okay? And slavery could be a part of it if it's a curse, okay? So if you're with this awakening, these are the angels that we as black people, we as the people of God, we as black people, we as the people of God, like we need to unite. And these are the angels that we need to pray to surround us, okay, to protect us from that, sleeping into that sin that caused our forefathers to go into slavery, okay? African Americans were enslaved in America, but Africans were also enslaved in our own land, okay? We had Kipande system where we had to walk with a big ID on our necks. So enslavement happened, I believe, the world over for every Negro, maybe apart from Ethiopia, all right? Now, having known that serikali is a government or government official, now in Swahili, again using the prefix sera in Swahili means policies, okay? Policies to be observed within a certain group or a nation or a race of people. Just policies, okay? So if you combine, so Sarakiel would be a combination of, okay, Sera meaning policies and Serikali meaning the government, okay? So in this respect, it's Sarakiel would mean he who upholds he who upholds the most high policies, okay, and commandments in regards to the children who transgress. So now the reason why I was saying, I was not sure why they kept saying in Wikipedia and babynames.com, they kept saying commandment of God. But when I went back to the Swahili language, I found the answer, because Sera means government policy. It means policies that need to be observed by a certain group of people. Okay? Okay, now let's go to another Swahili derivation. Now, another meaning for Sarah, okay, would be, remember we said Sarah would be Remember we said Sera would mean government policies, okay? In Swahili. Now another meaning for Sera would mean a fortification or a fortress, a fortification, an encampment, like a surrounding, like a wall, an encampment where people would seek refuge, okay? A homestead or a cattle enclosure, Sara, okay? A cattle enclosure that divides where people live and where, humans live, the members of the household, okay? Would be a Sara, okay? And in Ekegusii, it would be a Sarate, alright? But in Swahili, it's a Sera, alright? So a fortification, it's a homestead, it's a cattle enclosure. So if you join that, it would be, if you join Sera, okay, meaning a fortification, a wall, an enclosure, and then join it together with government, Serikali. So Serikali, Sera and Serikali would then mean, if you take Sera and join with Serikali plus Ali to mean superior, it would mean God is my fortress, or Sarakiel would be a commissioner of the policies of God, or it would imply homestead or government of God, alright? Or flock of God. Now a cattle enclosure will hold flock. Remember, Jesus was a shepherd. So when you have the word Sera and the El, it would mean flock of God. So Sarakiel's job is to take care of the flock of God. As a government official, his job is to take care of the flock of God so they don't fall into the same pattern of generational sin. Okay, so we move over to the Ekegusii Hebrew language, okay? We just finished the Swahili. We just finished with the Swahili. Now it's Ekegusii time, okay? All right. Now, the name Sarakiel, of course, we already discussed what the name Sarakiel is, okay? Right? So now we're trying to see what it is and how you can derive this name from the Ekegusii language. Alright, so we'll start with the suffix, which is el. El, of course, becomes eri in Ekegusii. We don't have the letter R, so el is God. In Ekegusii, becomes eri. Alright, now the name Sarakiel is in Hebrew is a combination of is an agglutination of three words, okay? Sarak, Sara, and the El, alright? Now, in Ekegusii, it'll be a combination of two. Sarak becomes Sarange, okay? Sarange, and El becomes Eli, so Sarange Eli, Sarake Eli, okay? Sarange means an adolescent child, a budding healthy child. Also, it's the name given to a girl, okay? One of my grandmothers was called Serange, okay? Now, a child who is seen as almost Sarange, or a Sarange child, is one who is mid-growth, okay? Has started to show signs of the body preparing for productivity. Again, an adolescent is a progeny of their parents, right? So again, the idea of progeny, okay? So Sarak, Sarange, okay? So Sarange El. So what this means then, the name Sarakiel in Ekegusii would mean a budding or youthful posterity of El, or it would mean one who protects the budding or youthful posterity of El or Eri, right? So it's pretty simple, right? So it has to Saranga carries the idea of, you know, a child, and the concept of the child, um, it carries the idea of a child, but not only a child, but a child who started to show signs of reproduction. Okay, so Seranga is a combination of the idea of posterity again, generation, descendants. Her body is preparing to become a woman. Okay, so she's Serangi. All right. Now, we know, of course, in Hebrew, Zera is a seed, right? But I think I read in Abarim that Zera refers to not just a seed, but a seed that will be scattered. Now, Yeshua or Yesu or Isa Messiah is referred to as Zera, the seed, okay? The seed, all right? And a seed has the potential, of course, to produce an offspring, right? Now, in Ekegusii, Serera, okay? Serera. Serera is the idea of grinding, grinding seeds or grain, okay? Grinding grain to increase the surface area so you can make bread, right? Or whatever you have to make. But it's the idea of scattering the seed, but one seed increasing its surface area. So it still has the idea of scattering or spreading it out. You see that? Just like the idea of Zera has the idea of sowing to scatter seed in terms of sowing them, seed and sperm, alright? So when you do Serera El, it would mean then one, if you do Serera El, meaning that Serera means to grind on behalf of somebody, his name then would be the angel, or one who will protect the dispersed progeny of God, alright? Or the angel who protects the progeny of God from being scattered or dispersed, right? So what this means then is that this angel is also specifically assigned to the lost tribes, okay? The tribes that produce the seed of the Messiah, okay? Now, in Ekegusii, remember Sarakiel, okay? In Ekegusii, Sareka means to be ruined or to be spoiled, okay? So if you do Sareka Eri would mean spoiled one of God, okay? In this respect, it would mean angel who protects those who will be spoiled or ruined. Sareka Eri, okay? Angel who will protect progeny or the children of men who might be ruined. Alright? Because his job is to prevent generational sin. Remember that Wikipedia description actually is a very befitting description because it carries the idea of progeny. Okay, so we have the last derivation for Ekegusii. Okay, so we have the last derivation for the name Sarakiel or Sarakiel in Ekegusii. Okay, now in Ekegusii, Mo Sari, the word Sari is one who circumcises, okay, or it's to make a slit, okay, so it's to make a slit or one who circumcised. So, and that would be in reference to the first prefix of Sarakiel. All right, now the word Esare means twins or multiple births, okay? So by this sense, it means a binary, it means binary composition or a multiple birth, okay? So Sari is to slit, see that? Sari is twins. Now, meaning that Abagusi people knew or were highly aware that in the making of twins, and after fertilization, the cells would split to make twins. So meaning that twins are actually called the split ones in Ekegusii, okay? To imply that their birth, the history of their birth involved a split, all right? Okay? So we were highly aware of medicine. So don't let anybody tell you that Africans didn't know medicine. And if they didn't, how do they know that twins are formed through the splitting of the fertilized egg? You know, all right. Now, in Ekegusii, a pair of twins is chi sare. Okay, one twin is e sare. Okay, so e sare. So if you take e sare and you join it with el, you get Israel, which is really another way of saying Israel, okay? Meaning twin, and twin is Israel and Eri is God, meaning godly twin, okay? Godly twin or righteous twin or twin of God. Remember, Jacob was the twin of God, remember? Esau was the hated one because he was ungodly. So, by that right there, and just using Ekegusii, it would mean the angel that protects, the lost descendants, okay? Okay, so the first one was Sari, okay? Mosari, from the word Mosari, meaning one who circumcises. The second one was a Sari, to mean a twin, okay? And the third one, the third derivation is Sira, S-I-R-A. Sira means to get lost, okay? Now, you can say somebody got lost physically, okay, like the lost tribes, or you can say somebody got lost, they died, or you can say somebody got lost in terms of being lost in sin, in their ignorance, not understanding, lack of understanding, okay? So, if you combine these three prefixes, where you take the circumciser, or to make a split, or a sare, which is the twin. Remember the idea of posterity, again, twin, and you get the idea of sira, to get lost, and join them together, you'll get a sare eri, okay, twin of God. And then when you say to get lost, is sira el, okay, Israel, sira el, meaning those who will be lost from God. And that's where you get the idea of the lost tribes. Sirael, to get lost from God, okay? And then Sarael, of course, in Swahili, you remember that? Sare. Sare means for things to happen simultaneously, which is actually the same as a Sare in Ekegusii, okay? So you can say he's the angel that protects the lost descendants of the posterity of the godly twin, or he who protects the descendants of the posterity of El, okay, or the posterity of Israel, Israel, okay. Okay, and that's all I have today for the angel Sarakiel. Sarakiel being the guardian of children and their parents as well. And of course, he prevents them from repeating the same cyclic behavior of generational sin, right? Now, okay, guys, that's all, folks, today for the angel Sarakiel, okay? And Sarakiel being the guardian of the children of men and basically the family angel and posterity. Next week will be... So then next week we'll discuss a very interesting angel who's the Alicia, and his name is Raguel, and that will be our fifth angel, and then our sixth angel would be Gabriel, the last one. So I hope to see you here next week. I'm excited. Right? Please don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe. I'm waiting for your comments. See ya. Bye. Y'all bless.